I am not sure I know my core values. And I got really excited, right? Because I love to help people figure out what their core values are, what their passions are, and really how to infuse those core values and passions into their businesses. Hello, and welcome to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. My name is Maggie, aka your business bestie. I teach female coaches, speakers, and course creators to release procrastination and perfection so that they can get more done, book more clients, and have the time freedom that all entrepreneurs crave. This is not your typical business coaching podcast. We're talking about business, life, probably some wooey magic, and probably some singing or referencing song lyrics along the way. So if you're into business building, making more money, and getting a little bit of a mindset shift along with having a good laugh, you're definitely in the right place. I've grown 3 businesses from $0 to consistent 4 and 5 figure months over the last 15 plus years. And now I'm helping you do the same thing. It didn't happen overnight, and it certainly didn't happen without the help of others. They say it takes a village to raise children, and I believe it takes a village to grow a business as well. So in this podcast, you'll find people who help you grow your village, cheer you on, as well as holding you accountable. I'm so excited you're here, and I can't wait for you to listen to each episode. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. My name is Maggie, your business bestie and Chaos to Clarity coach. I can't wait to dive into today's topic. So the other day I was on a call with one of you who listens here on the podcast, and we were talking about her offer, and we were also talking about core values. And I asked her, I said, so do you infuse your core values with your offer? We started talking about offers, and she looked at me and kind of, and a little bit confused said, well, no, should I? And then she said, I am not sure I know my core values. And I got really excited, right? Because I love to help people figure out what their core values are, what their passions are, and really how to infuse those core values and passions into their businesses so that they can amplify their business. Now, you might be asking, why? Why would I want my core values infused into my business? Why would I want my passions infused in my business? I don't get it. But here's the thing. So when you bring your core values and your passions to the forefront in your business, it gives you this spark that allows you to really lead from a place of passion and lead from a place of excitement and lead from a place where you can step into this version of yourself that is kind of like a magnet. So core values are something that I have taught to clients over many years. Like when I think back about it, and I was super hesitant and resistant to add core values and passions into my coaching program. And I realized that for me, right, when I was like, no, people aren't going to like this. It's too woo. It's too like out there. But I realized that number one, I needed to bring more me to my business, right? And from a human design perspective, and I am going to do an episode on human design, what I know about it and how I utilize it in my business. But as I started getting deeper into my own human design experiment, I realized that part of the way I lead is with joyful, creative, and like just this welcoming aura for people, right? People either love it or they hate it, which I think is kind of funny. And I also love that because it's also a way that I have discovered how I attract people and how I attract the quote unquote right people, ideal people, and how I detract people who aren't necessarily a good fit for me. So, going back to the whole core values thing. So when I started my yoga teacher training course, when I created that, right, when I started creating that in 2015, I think. Oh my gosh, 2015. That's so crazy. It was so long ago at this point. Anyway, so 2015, myself and another teacher at the time, we created a yoga teacher training course. And part of that was core values and passion, core values and passion and core values. There it is. So part of it was understanding your passions and your core values. And over the years, since 2015, that exercise that I had gotten from a previous teacher of mine has evolved. And over the last year, I have evolved it working with a different mentor who really was able to like give me kind of that next level of like questions to ask to help in my coaching business, right? Because in a yoga studio, in a yoga teacher training, not that it can't be more than surface level, it definitely can, but in that group setting, it just wasn't at the time for me appropriate to kind of dig in deeper. Now, as a coach, I see the value of digging in a little bit deeper for values. So what the heck are values? What are they and why should you use them? So number one, what are they? A lot of people will say their values are their quote unquote why. Like, why are you in business is what a lot of coaches, consultants, so on and so forth, people will ask. And then I've seen a lot of people answer, and don't get me wrong, this is a very noble answer. I love it, but also like it's deeper than this. A lot of people will say, oh, my why is my kids. And well, yes, but like what is the next level under that? Because your values are not necessarily a thing. Like money is not a value, right? It's values are an emotional state. So think about like joy and I think some would argue that creativity is not an emotional state, but for me, I feel joy when I'm creative. So for me, creativity and joy kind of, they come hand in hand because being joyful means I'm creative and being creative means I get to feel joy. So for me, it kind of crosses the line, right? Because creativity is kind of a thing. Anyway, getting off the subject. So values they're an emotional state. They're things that you've probably spent time, money, energy on. And the biggest like aha is it's usually an unconscious thing. So my core values, joy, like I love to feel joy. I feel full. I feel able to just like run a marathon when I'm filled with joy. Even talking about joy right now, like I feel warm and fuzzy and I just feel so held in my own space when I have those feelings of joy. So I know joy is something that like I need to feel in my life and my business in order for it to work correctly. Okay, so other values of mine, sustainability and security. So like when I feel secure, when I feel held, when I feel like I am, I'm actually at a loss for words, which is where you want to be when you get to these values, where you like, you just can't explain it. You just like have to have it. So, security, sustainability, and joy are my top three. And within those three, right, come these little like subsets, you could call them, right? So like creativity is in there, time freedom, like having fun. And I know that gets a little like wishy-washy of the line of like values are not necessarily a thing. But like my top three: joy, sustainability, and security. When I feel those three things, like I could literally go on for days. Okay. So what are core values? They are usually an emotional state, something that you spend time, money, time, money, and energy on, right? So things that you're like, oh, this thing is going to buy me joy, or this thing is going to, I'm going to learn this thing and it's going to help me feel secure or sustainable. So it's things that are like this unconscious, like you just know, and you're always trying to find those things, right? So how can you bring those things into your business? And typically these values are like a motivational thing. Like they motivate you before you do the thing. And it's often what's most important to you. And for me, joy is at the top of that list. If I am feeling joyful in anything that I'm doing, I love to do it. And even if it's things like cleaning the bathroom, doing the laundry, doing the dishes, like those are not things that I love to do. But if I can find a way to feel joy in that, it makes it easier for me to do. I hope this is all making sense because, like for me, it definitely resonated and like totally just clicked in me. So why would you want to use values? Why would you want to use these values in your business? Okay, so I actually just said it, right? If I feel joy when I'm cleaning the bathroom, it makes it easier to do. Okay? And do not mistake this that like I feel super joyful cleaning my bathroom. But at the end of the day, if I can find things that make me feel joy about cleaning the bathroom, whether that's, I don't know, trying a new cleaner or blasting some good music, right, while I clean, or, like it makes those things a lot more bearable. Now, apply this to your business. Okay. So if I think what brings me joy in my business, if I could have anything at all in my business, what would I do to add more joy to my business? For me, at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of 2023, that was adding in a podcast, having a podcast and talking to people, right? Part of my human design, also part of my values, I would argue, right, is being a thought leader and creating a legacy and helping others, right? So those are things that kind of come off of the joy, sustainability, and security, right? Those are like little offshoots, I would call them. So how can I bring more of that into my business? So for me, when I wanted to bring more of this into my business, I knew that podcasting was going to be a really great way for me to have more of these values, right? To feel security, to feel sustainability, to feel joyful. And they were also very motivating, right? Like being able to create long form, like talk, right, is a way for me to network. It's a way for me to get in front of a different audience. It's a way for me to kind of create content in a new and fun way, which, getting back to human design as a manifesting generator, that is really important to me, to be able to feel creative in new and fun ways. So creating this podcast, I realized, allowed me to maximize my content. So as I was infusing my core values into my offer and into my business, really, I wanted to know, how could I be sustainable? Like, what is sustainability? What does that look like in my business? And these, you may also align with sustainability as a core value, but you might not. So for me, right, this is kind of my journey of how I started pulling in core values into my business so I was not burning out, right? So I was able to get up and try things and and face things and do things and navigate things, right? Navigating the chaos in order to find the clarity, right? In order to really kind of see, okay, here is what's working, here's what's not, here's what I'm going to change because it feels like it needs to change, okay? So knowing that when I created this podcast in the beginning of the year, I would get a number of things. So I would get the number one, ability to have a longer form talking point, right? Here it's longer than stories, and I don't have to talk for a minute, stop, put the captions on, upload it, and then talk another minute, right? Like, so it's not this like disjointed thing. It's a longer form. And I know I can do this on live. I know I can do Facebook lives. I know I can do IG lives, but I also had been wanting to try the podcasting. Anyway, so all this to say, I knew, like unconsciously, subconsciously, whatever you want to call it, I knew that having a podcast would give me a way to create this long form talk, also create posts, right? Like talking, like value, engagement, offer posts out of this, right? Like out of what I'm saying. I can literally take my words, transcribe them, and I have content for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, newsletter, wherever I wanted to put it, right? So it gave me the most bang for my buck. And I talk a lot with my hands, as you've probably seen if you've watched my stories. So if we're not connected on Instagram, make sure we connect on Instagram, and you'll get to see my hands talking with me, right? And it made me feel like knowing I have a podcast helped me feel security in this, like it's just like a deep knowing that I have. Like, I can't explain why this makes me feel secure other than that it simply does. And it feels really important. So that was how I knew, like, I was meeting my core values. I was infusing them into this piece of my business. Now, I started off the episode saying, talking about infusing your core values into your offer. So that was the next step that I took, right? I created the podcast and I figured out, like, what do I love? What do I not love? What do I want to do? Where do I want to post this? So on and so forth. How did I infuse this into my offer? Now, if you've been following me on Instagram or Facebook for the last, 1 to 3 years, you'll know that my offer has changed and shifted drastically over the last 3 years. And a lot of that is largely, especially in the beginning of this year, it shifted so much because I started asking myself, what brings me joy in my business? What are things that bring me joy? What are things that make my business feel sustainable to me? What are things that bring me security, that make me feel safe in my business? And I started doing more of those things, right? It's so crazy to me how that all has evolved because I just started doing more things that brought me joy. I started doing more things that I'm like, okay, I feel like I am building a solid foundation, a secure, stable foundation in my business when I do X, Y, and Z. And for me, that was really understanding, like, okay, I feel good when I am asking engagement questions in Facebook groups, right? Because getting back to the human design things, I'm a manifesting generator and I'm meant to respond. So for me to ask questions in groups, that gave me a way to respond to my audience and to start connecting with people who are either really great collaborators, like referral partners, or really great clients. And that was how I figured that out. So by infusing my core values into my business, I was able to open up this whole new opportunity to connect with my ideal clients. So if you are not doing this work of figuring out your core values, I want you to, I'm going to drop the link below for an offer audit. But I would love for you to hop on an offer audit with me, and we're going to go through your core values because I think they are so important in your business. In fact, that's something that I offer in the 30-day Accelerate program for Accelerate Your Brand. I offer and go through with clients. I go through their core values and I go through like, here's how you figure them out. And if you're curious how to figure yours out, it's a series of questions that you wind up asking yourself. So I'm going to go through a couple of the questions. Well, actually, I'll just go through them all on here. And you could, if you want, right? Like if you're obviously not driving or somewhere where you need to be paying attention, feel free to start and stop these last few minutes of the episode and just see what you come up with, right? So when you are digging into your core values, number one, ask yourself what is important to you in your business and your career, and make a list. Make a list of things that are super important to you. And it's fine if family and kids are on there. Like definitely on mine in this like first question, family and kids are on there. Okay. So but it goes deeper than that, right? There's like five or six questions that are on this core values, I guess, quiz. So you make a list of what's important to you in your business and career and just like create the list, right? Don't worry about numbering it. And then after you have that list, hopefully you have like I would say 5 to 10 things that are really important to you. Then you go back to that list and from the top one, you ask, what does that thing do for you? So what does number 1 do for you? And when you have your answer, then you ask the next question is, and what is the purpose of that? So like for me, in this list that I have here in front of me, I'm just going to pick a value. So it says have fun. Okay. So what is important to me in my business and career? To have fun. And what does having fun do for you? Do for me? Having fun for me allows me to feel creative. Okay. And what is the purpose of feeling creative? Feeling creative for me offers me a way to really like feel full and feel joyful, right? And joy then gives me sustainability, right? Because I feel so like I feel like I'm the Energizer Bunny, right? And I can just go for days when I feel creative and joyful. And then what does joy make me feel? Joy honestly makes me feel so safe. It makes me feel safe and secure. So that's where, right? So you see now, right? Having fun, the purpose, or what does that do for me? Having fun for me allows me to be creative. So there's, right? Having fun is a value. Creative is a value. What's the purpose of being creative? To have joy, to feel joy. What does joy give me? Security, sustainability. And how does that make me feel? It makes me feel on cloud 9, quite honestly. So the questions that you can ask yourself are, what is important to you in your business or career? What do those things do for you? And I often have people go through that list from the first question, go through each thing on that list for the next 4 questions. Okay. So what does each thing on that list do for you? What is the purpose of each thing on that list? What does each thing on that list give you? And how does each thing on that list make you feel? So those 5 questions. And then from that, then you start to prioritize your list. So you have the things that are most important to you in your business and career, right? You have that little list. And then from that list, you've gone through the next 4 questions and you've probably kind of flushed out a few more things of like what, the purpose, what does it give you? How does it make you feel? So then you take that big list. So all of the things that you wrote down in those next 4 questions, and then that top list. And then you get to prioritize that list. So you go back, you have them listed, and then you go, which is more important, 1 or 2? And you kind of, you go through the list, and, you know, if you could make more money, have generational wealth, which would you choose, right? And then whichever one you choose, and these are just my examples, right? And like I said before, like values aren't necessarily money, but sometimes that helps spark the things, okay? So, you know, for me in my list, the first one on this list is make money. The second one is generational wealth. Which one would I choose, 1 or 2? I would choose generational wealth. So then number 2. So then from number 2, go 2 against 3, generational wealth or have fun. I would choose to have fun over generational wealth, quite honestly. And then, you know, go down the line again. So 3, have fun or create a legacy. I would probably still stick with have fun, right? So that's how you start to rank them, right? So you see, so have fun is a little bit higher than make money, generational wealth, okay? So if you want, like I said before, I'm going to drop the link for an offer audit, but feel free to book an offer audit and offer alignment. That is also coming up on another episode. I'm going to talk about offer audit versus alignment, because that, dang, you guys are just super triggered by the word audit. Anyway, if you want to go through your core values, if this is intriguing to you, if you feel like this is something you want to infuse more into your offers, more into your business, I highly, highly, highly recommend hop on an offer alignment session with me. And when we get on, just let me know that you want to go through your core values, right? Because I want this to be something, I want this to really, really fill you up and allow you to really be able to talk about and sell and create things in your business, because it truly, truly just amplified my business in a way that I was not expecting. And I'm so excited to be able to give this to you. So let me know if this resonates. As always, feel free to drop me an Instagram or Facebook message. I love, 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 love hearing from you guys. And I'm just so excited to see how you take this episode and really create your core values. And really, like, I want to know, what are your core values? So, like I said, get in my Instagram inbox. Let me know what your core values are, and let me know if you want to get into your core values, because I want to help you infuse these into your business. So I hope you have the best day ever, and I will talk to you again so soon.